NHS that are under compass. And we could be the same. Our universal service, our universal NHS could all be going bit by bit if the Tories get back in. And we really have to stop this. I really value the NHS. I've worked in it for years. I use the service. We need to stop what's happening. So let's try and save the NHS.
Everyone who's come, thank you so much for making this such a spectacular occasion and exceeding all our expectations. My name is Matt Weston, a person who obviously needs no introduction, but I will give you just two additional things you may not have been aware of. One is he's a fellow Gooner, Arsenal fan. We can now talk about this. That's all wrong, that's off script. That's totally off script. Jeremy used to be my MP and representative when I lived in Islington many, many years ago. And he was a fantastic representative for us in that community. I'm now standing to be the representative for Warwick and Leamington, and it's a real honor. I'm sure I can learn a great deal from the man stood to my left. Can you now please welcome the Leader of the Opposition, the future Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn.
Thanks, Matt, for what you just said. And I'm sorry if our support for a particular football team causes any controversy. But you know what? You have to stick to your beliefs. Student nurses in our NHS. The last cohort of student nurses to get a student nurse bursary. And what they all told me was, if they're starting out again, they wouldn't be able to do it because they couldn't afford it. What kind of country is it that stops people becoming nurses by charging them so much? That is Tory Britain. So, our absolute core belief is about the National Health Service. It's the most civilised thing about our country. It was founded by Labour in 1948 because we believe that everybody, irrespective of their place or state of birth, deserves free access to health care. It's Labour that will defend the National Health Service. Many who are going through a mental health crisis who are not getting the support that they need. A quarter of us in our lifetime will face a mental health crisis. We need to have a service there that's able to help and support us. We also need to have a society and a community that doesn't stigmatise people going through a mental health crisis. Let's look at education as the greatest opportunity for all of our children. But under this Tory government, so many schools around the country, head teachers in a terrible state of stress and distress because they've got to decide which teacher to sack, which teaching assistant to sack, which exam not to enter children for, which subject to write out of the curriculum. Is it right that in 21st century Britain we're asking parents to take part in collections to pay teachers' salaries? It cannot be right. We've got to properly fund our schools so that all of our children, irrespective of the postcode where they were born, get the education they need, and we And so I say to teachers, I say to doctors, I say to nurses, I say to those that work so hard in so many of our public services, you've been subject now to 7 years of pay freezes. In reality, you've taken a pay cut year in, year out, getting worse and worse. because wages are too low, because investment is too low, because our public services are underfunded, and because we have a taxation system that favours the super rich, the wealthy, and the big corporations. Do we want to have a fairer system? A system where the very rich pay the taxes they should, where the tax havens are closed down, and where there is proper investment, yes, in the infrastructure, but also in advanced technology, manufacturing, industries, and sustainable developments. For those that can't leave home because they can't afford the deposit to rent a private rented place, or for those that want to buy and can't save any money because they're paying so much in the private rented sector. We need a serious national initiative to deal with the housing crisis by building for those that need homes rather than building for speculative investment to keep them empty. But it's also about running an economy that works. An economy that works for all in all parts of the country. Why is it there's such a massive imbalance of investment in London and the South East compared to the North East, the North West and the Midlands? How is it that we've tolerated all of this for so long? How is it the quality of the trains you're on gets worse and worse the further north you go from London and the South East? And I say that as somebody who represents a London constituency. So, our brilliant Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, John McDonnell, has put forward his proposals for a national investment bank. That national investment bank will be for the whole country, of course, but it will also be regionally based. So it will invest in the infrastructure we need. It will invest in the transport systems that we need, but it will also invest in the high technology, engineering and industrial jobs that we need for the future. Many of the media have written people off in the past. Indeed, I started out at 200 to 1 outsider to be leader of the Labour Party. And we have an enormous party membership. If you're a member of the Labour Party, thank you. If you're thinking about joining the Labour Party, please do. If you haven't thought about it, please think about it and come on board. And if you haven't even started thinking about it, start thinking about it, then you can think about joining, then we can welcome you in. Because we've got 1 month to get a message out there that this isn't a presidential election, this is a parliamentary election. This is an election about our political future. The kind of relationship we have with the rest of the world, the trading relationship we have with Europe, which I want to be a tariff-free trade access, the kind of communities and societies that we want. Our message is quite simply this: elect a Labour government on June the 8th, and you will have a government that is determined to deal with injustice and inequality, that is determined to create a society that works for all, so that every boy and girl can achieve what they're determined to achieve, because we give them the tools with which to do it. And that older people will be protected by the triple lock on their pensions. The inequality and injustice that the WASPy women have been treated will be dealt with and will be addressed. And that we want a society that doesn't just provide pensions and security for older people. That, of course, is crucial. But it's also their role in society and their respect, the sense of isolation that so many older people face. We're a party for the many, not the few. We're there to change our society. We're there to create a better country and a better Britain. And that's why I'm very proud to lead this party. I'm very proud of the policies we're putting forward in this election. And I'm very proud of the opportunity we've now got to get a message out there. So I appeal to all of you, do everything you can to get my friend here elected, a fellow Arsenal supporter. It's very important, this matter. Despite what's being held up. Oh, it's gone, well done. No, I'm glad you're there, it's fine, it's okay, there's a little local problem here. Make sure that we win Warwick and Leamington, because by winning Warwick and Leamington, that's a message to the whole country. We are strong, we are healthy, we're in great heart, we're going to go out there with a message. Simply put it this way: for the many, not the few. Thank you very much.